Hi, shalom friends. If you've been following the news recently, you begin to realize that there is no news. It just seems to be that history keeps on repeating itself. Now I'm referring to, in particular, the unrest in the Middle East. And you pick up here and say, so what? What else is new? And yet there is something that seems to be new. There's an element that's been introduced to this conversation about violence. And that is, we're talking about respect. And ostensibly, there is a very strong ground swell of support to protest an injustice, or to protest a lack of respect towards a religious figure, historical figure, and so on. Of course, in the West, we say, well, everyone is fair game. After all, there's freedom to express one's opinion, and what's so terrible? And the response is, but we're talking about someone so important. How dare you imply that someone was less than perfect? And so the debate rages, and the conflict continues, and the world is at unrest. And yes, I say it with a smile, I think we have the solution. It's rabbinic. It goes back 1800 years ago. And the solution to this whole issue, I believe, could be found in the words of one of the great rabbis of the Mishnah. It's found in chapters Ethics of Our Fathers, chapter 4. Ben Zoma said, who is honored? Someone who bestows honor. Someone who shows honor. Now, the word honor and respect, though they're not synonymous, are very similar. So I would substitute, at least for today's YouTube, who is worthy of respect? And the response would be someone that shows respect. Let me develop this theme a bit further. One of the most beloved figures of Talmud is the gentle but brilliant Hillel the elder. And he was always surrounded by throngs of students who hung on not only to his every word, but learned from his actions as well. And the Talmud relates that one day, Hillel must have interrupted or stopped some very important activities and headed out. When the students asked, "Great Rabbi, where are you going?" He said, "I'm going to do a mitzvah. I'm going to show honor to God." Well, to show honor to God, who would not want to see the greatest sage do something like that? And he was followed. To their absolute amazement, he actually walked into a bathhouse. And of course, they stayed outside. And he emerged a while later. Clearly, he had bathed. They looked at him. They said, "Rebbe, are you going now to show honor to Hashem?" He said, "No, I just did that." And they said, "Rebbe, you went into a bathhouse." And he said, "Do you know that the Emperor of Rome has many statues of himself and of his predecessors? And these statues are in all prominent places. And there's actually individuals that are paid from the royal treasury to go and to clean these statues, to make sure that there's no grime, there's no bird droppings, and so on." And why? It's only stone, marble. The answer is it represents a king. It represents an emperor. Well, if that's the case, even though it's only a representation, the body that represents the emperor should be treated with great respect. Now, dear students, if a statue which has no feelings is treated with respect because it reminds people of an emperor, what about a human being, the body of a human being, created in the image of God? Should we not be respectful towards it? Indeed, bathing, cleaning, making the body radiant almost, feeling clean and wholesome, that's a way of showing respect to God. Because after all, the body represents the image of God as well as the soul that's inside of it. What a powerful, powerful teaching. When a person shows respect to another human being, you're also showing respect not to a human being, but to the divine itself. When we understand and appreciate that the creation of man, which we just recently celebrated through our wonderful holiday of Rosh Hashanah, that the creation of man was God's crowning achievement, and through that his beautiful creation was complete, then learning to respect people and to show deference and honor to them is instinctive. It's natural. In fact, it's imperative. How can you have an appreciation of the divine when you are vilifying the very image of the divine that's in front of you? And so this brings me back to the Middle East. If there is a religion or an ism or a philosophy that claims truth, claims beauty, claims spirituality, then honoring man is a way of honoring God. If anything, going out of your way to help and to show gratitude and to show deference to the elder and to show deference to wisdom, this indeed is a testimony to what they would call a religion or an ism or a philosophy. The solution is not to say you have shown disrespect. The solution is who is honorable or who is honored, one who bestows honor. If people could simply acknowledge not only the existence of others, but their basic dignity, and show honor because they are God's creatures, created in His image, then they in turn would be honored by all. And indeed, that has always been the Jewish tradition. Here we are, God's people on earth, and yet our traditions are filled with the importance of being kind, to the extent where we are told, be the first to greet a person. Even the great rabbis, whose mind was always occupied with Torah, were cognizant that a human being walking towards them needs to be acknowledged, and needs to be acknowledged peacefully, beautifully. What do we do before our holy days? We increase in matters of charity, generosity. Indeed, the very idea of the Day of Atonement can only atone if between man and man we are right with one another. So I believe, and I believe firmly, that much of the unrest can be stilled simply by going back to a Jewish basic thought. Show respect, you will receive respect. Show honor, you will receive honor. And finally, if I may add, look for the truth, and you will find it. I wish us all success in spiritual growth. And I remind all of us, and certainly myself included, that the way for true spiritual fulfillment is to start appreciating the divine within ourselves and by extension within others as well. Shalom, and may we only hear good news.
So with all my heart and soul, let me honor you. A gentle people with a faith of steel. You teach the world how to live and how to give and how to believe. If I could look into your heart, I would see the face of God.